All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. We try to have timely and relevant topics based upon what we hear from those of you in the field. So today we're going to go back and look again at the four-phase graphic. So it should be shared on the screen here. This is not new, nor has this changed. So what this is it's intended to be a great reference piece when you're talking to a client or a prospective client about what you and I, what we do and how it works. Because you and I know, most clients have a very simple desire. They want money. So let's go over here to the right-hand side of the graphic. They want money. And a lot of times they wish none of this was necessary. Any of these phases, this arrow, these dots, the typical client doesn't want any of that. They just want a pile of money to start or grow a business. And I can appreciate that. But you and I know that it doesn't work that way. We have to have a fundable business if we want business funding. And it kind of makes sense, but that often is just not what your clients or your prospects are thinking. So when they come to you and they say, hey, Bernard, Charles, Christina, Dr. Davis, or others, they say, I want money. And then at some point, you're going to ask the question, well, great. So you need money to start or grow a business. That's outstanding. I think we can help you. Can you tell me, do you have a fundable business now? And what happens is they typically don't know what that means. They don't know what it means to have a fundable business. And so we need to have an educational exchange with them. And that's half of our mission, is to build financial literacy. But building financial literacy also is going to help you close the deal. Because if people understand that you can't just want or need money, you must qualify for it, you need to have a fundable business, then you can educate them what that means and how we can help. The analogy that we frequently use and that we've talked about some is it's like having a recipe. Let's say that you and I were to get together tonight. We're going to watch a movie and we're going to make lasagna. We're going to stay in. And so what do we need if we're going to make lasagna? We're going to need a recipe. Maybe you know it in your head. I certainly don't. So I would need a recipe, and then we're going to need the ingredients, right? Well, what you and I have is a recipe for funding. We have a formula for funding. We know exactly what it takes to have a fundable business. And we tell the whole world what it is, because this here is on our website on chapmanloanprogram.org. This, in a recording version, is actually on this web page twice. One to present it from the client's perspective, and once to present it from your perspective as a distribution partner to train you how to use it. So we tell the world the recipe. It's not like we're trying to sell a cookbook. It's not like, hey, give us some money and we'll tell you how to get funding. No. When we applied for the grant and received the grant, a major focus is building financial literacy, frankly, for free. But the great news is, as you and I teach people what the recipe is, they typically need the ingredients. Usually their cupboards are bare or inadequate. So they don't have the pasta they need to make lasagna tonight. They don't have the cheese or the sauce. Sometimes they have some of those ingredients, but rarely do they have all of them. So they're not able to make the lasagna. And in our case, if prospective clients or clients don't have the ingredients, then they're not fundable. You might say, well, what if they have part of it? Think about that, right? So if you and I have the pasta sauce and the cheese, but we have no pasta itself, no noodles, we're not going to make lasagna. So when it comes to being fundable, it requires all of these elements, not just some of them. So let's go ahead and talk about what's included in this formula. This is going to be, again, a shorter synopsis, not meaning to teach you how to use this fully, because that is an available on-demand training that's on the website. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page that, number one, you or someone on your team probably is going to need to educate the prospects of how this works, because they don't know what it means to be fundable. They don't know the process, and they need to have some trust, right? If they don't trust you, trust us that we're going to do what we say that we do. If they don't trust that we're going to be able to guide them through a process to get funding, they won't enroll. But through education, you can build that trust. So, again, this is the short version. There are 4 phases that we go through. Now, certainly a client may be able to accelerate through, and maybe they can skip a phase because they already have those elements. But let's just briefly go through these 4 phases. Phase 1 is called foundation, but what that means is, do we have the infrastructure of a business to build off of? So what we do is we help them apply for first tranche financing, so that way they have some working capital. We have some outstanding testimonials, some outstanding success stories of people getting first tranche funding. Now, obviously, when we talk about getting them this initial first tranche of funding so they have working capital while we're working through the phases, while we're going through it, that doesn't mean that they signed up and they suddenly qualified for a big pile of business funding. That's too good to be true. The first tranche is based upon their baseline qualifications. But beyond that, we're providing them a credible address. For free, we provide them a unique business address, which is needed for business funding. We'll help them form their formation with the Secretary of State, help them get the EIN and bank account. So that's what's included in phase 1. Now, again, don't get thrown off. Let's say a client comes to you and say, oh, I have all of that, or I have some of those. That's fine. That just means we can move faster through the process. It's not a problem. When we applied for the grant, received the grant, it was designed to take someone who has nothing in place and get them all the way to being fundable. But it doesn't exclude those that do have these elements or some of the elements. All right, number 2 is, once we have the foundation of a business, now we need to have business credit worthiness. Business credit worthiness means that the business has demonstrated that it pays its bills on time, and that if the business were to apply for funding, the lender or extender of credit would have trust in the client that the client will pay their bills. So how do we do that? Again, short version here. What we're going to do is help them create legally and ethically optimize business credit profiles, like with Dun & Bradstreet and so forth. And then we're going to help them add primary trade lines. Primary trade lines are pretty exciting, because those can be anything from company cars. And this is a real company car we bought. Not a big deal. It's a new Porsche 911, but we can work with clients to get company cars or company trucks, company credit cards, or what have you. But just to digress for a moment, it's important to understand that every step along the way of these 4 phases, clients are seeing value. They're not just waiting and hoping on this. In the first in the first phase, we're getting them their first tranche. In the second phase, we're getting them trade lines, including, when you're driving around in a brand new Porsche 911, it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a status symbol, but it's another realization that the program works. We do what we say that we'll do. Phase 3 is building out strong business financials. And so we have a little picture of a balance sheet, for example. So again, the most important thing that we do, you and I do, is educate people, because they may not know what is needed to become fundable. So we're teaching them what's needed, and we're delivering it. We're providing them the ingredients. We're giving them the pasta. We're giving them the cheese. So with building strong financials, one of the things that we do is we actually transfer over $10,000. Really, truthfully, $10,000 we're transferring over to put on their balance sheet. It's in the form of accounts receivables. And so that helps them have assets for collateral. And then if they want, we can help them liquidate those receivables and turn that into cash. So again, they're seeing value. They're seeing value every step of the way. We get to phase 4, and now we're able to go to funding. Where we go to funding and the type of funding is based upon the client's mitigating circumstances. Are they looking for grants? Are they looking for loans? Are they looking for equity injection, money they don't have to pay back? We'll work with clients on their uses and sources of funds. That's part of the process. What's really awesome about your role in this is you're doing 3 things, and we do the rest. We do all the implementation. You do steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 1 is you need to generate leads, and we teach you and show you how to do that, so that should never be a barrier. Number 2 is you educate the leads, and this is probably the most valuable document to do that. And then the third is you enroll them, because once you have a prospect that has acknowledged, yes, they want or need money to start or grow a business, so there's a fit. We've established that they don't have a fundable business. They don't have everything in place. Then it just makes perfect sense for them to enroll. Now, let's say they do have everything in place, and that theoretically could happen. It's not very often, but that's fine. They could still enroll, and we could go right to funding. We could skip phases 1, 2, and 3 and go right to phase 4. Now, you and I, we charge for this process, right? Because your time is valuable. You've got to make money. Accountants charge, doctors charge, lawyers charge, engineers, architects charge. I mean, that's the way that it works. What you don't want is someone to say, well, why am I paying in advance to get a loan? That sounds like a scam. Well, you're not paying in advance to get a loan, right? They're paying to enroll in the Startup Business Funding Program to receive this scope of services, right? You don't go to Walmart and you check out, you say, this is a scam. You're charging me for these noodles. You're criminals. You're charging me for the cheese. Well, no, you're getting something, and it's more valuable than the amount you're paying for it. In my world, folks can enter into this process with either just a $500 down payment, which is incredibly affordable. I mean, look at the value proposition that they're getting, vastly exceeds 500. Or they could pay the normal $2,500. That's what a lot of people do. Now, let's say they push back. I gotta pay to get professional help. Again, you can see how illogical that is. Usually, it's people that are not very financially sophisticated that expect things for free. Because while you certainly may put a performance fee, and many of you, most of you, charge a performance fee that is paid when? After the clients receive their funding. Performance or success fees are paid afterwards. That's not in advance for funding. That's not. When they're paying the $2,500 or the $500 down payment, they're paying to enroll in the program to get this assistance. Now, one of the things that several of you are doing, I think Larry's doing this and Mike may be doing this, I'm not sure who all does this, but you make the initial setup fee refundable. So let's go through that. So let's say it's $2,500, the norm. What Larry, I believe, is doing is saying, hey, put a $2,500 deposit down. We'll create a fundable business. You'll go to funding, and then we'll give you the $2,500 back. It's a refundable deposit. People eat that up. And Larry, if you could type into the Q&A, confirm that that's the way you're doing it. And then Larry, also, how many deals did you do like that last month in March? And we'll just use Larry as a success story. So yes, there's a cost to get help, right? Yes, there's a cost to buy noodles and to buy cheese at Walmart. That shouldn't be shocking to you or to the client. So they pay the $2,500, but we use the Larry model. Hey, it's a $2,500 refundable deposit. you get it back after we go through the process and you get funding. So I forget who it was. Mike, was it you? Some of you are insurance professionals, and one of you brought up to me it's like a return of premium insurance policy. And again, we don't sell insurance, so don't confuse that. But those of you that have an insurance background, one of the easiest insurance policies to sell is a return of premium policy, because only one of two things happens: either the insured dies and their family gets the insurance payout, or the policy owner gets the premium back. That's a pretty good analogy here. If you use the Larry model, hey, yeah, there's a refundable deposit for us to build a fundable business, but no worries, you get it back after you go to funding. Now you might say, well, how does that work, right? If we're giving them the $2,500 back, how would that make sense? Well, what Larry does is Larry charges a performance fee, which most of you do. I think what's happened is he's added a little bit higher performance fee to build that in. So instead of a 10% performance fee, I think he's charging 15 or 16%. And so it's enough to absorb that. So really, Larry's profit is not going down at all by making the $2,500 refundable. Larry, and again, if you'll text in there and confirm it. One of the other things that Larry is, and again, I think it's Larry that's pointed this out, is he says that when you charge clients a refundable deposit of $2,500, that is not taxable income to your business. You don't pay any tax on that. Think about that for a minute. So let's say that you went and enrolled 10 clients a month. I'm just using that for simple numbers. So let's do the math. So if you had 2,500 and you enrolled 10 clients, that'd be $25,000 that came into your branch in that hypothetical month. What would your tax liability be on that 25,000? Zero. According to the IRS tax code, it would be zero. Well, why would it be zero? Because it's a deposit. Like if you and I owned an apartment complex and we collected a deposit before someone moved into the 2-bedroom apartment on the second floor, does our apartment complex pay taxes on that security deposit for that apartment? No, because it's a deposit that's going to be refunded back. So think about that for a moment. If you could start generating $25,000 a month that's tax-free, legally tax-free, is that not a big freaking deal? And then that also makes it easier to get clients to be willing to pay, because it's a refundable deposit. It sounds better, and it's true, right? It would be refunded. So we have language that we can provide you so you can build that into your agreement. So the $2,500 is a refundable deposit. They get it back after they go to funding and pay you the performance fee. So you're not losing money. You're just using more creative pricing strategies to make it more attractive to your prospects. And the same could be if they're just doing the 500 down. All right, so let's open it up for the last few minutes of the call. Questions, comments, concerns on this. We got the graphic. Each of you should have this. If you don't have it, email us and let us know. We're happy to provide it. We'll provide it to you in editable format. This is a PDF, which isn't so easy to edit normally, but we'll send you an editable version so you can make the changes that you want. This describes what we do and the order that we do it. So we're telling the world what the recipe is for funding. There's no secrets. We're sharing with everyone. Here is what we're going to do to help you have a fundable business, and it'll work 100% of the time. There's no risk of a client enrolling, and as long as they'll participate and we go through the 4 phases, they'll get funded. Absolutely no risk. Now, what they're commonly missing are the ingredients, right? Otherwise, you'd just say, well, what have we done? We've taken the business opportunity away. They'll just go do it on their own. Well, they typically need the ingredients. A lot of people don't have the credible address. We provide that for them for free. A lot of them don't have an entity. We provide that for free. Of course, EIN and bank account anyone can get. A lot of them don't have strong business credit. So we help them get that for free. We get them primary trade lines. A lot of them don't have strong business financials, and so we're helping them create strong business financials. We can provide as many assets as needed for any type of loan. So if they needed $1 million loan or a $5 million loan, we can transfer as many assets as are needed to the balance sheet. So we have collateral, and then we help facilitate this. Some people get confused with this and think, oh, because some of you are loan brokers or involved in the lending space. That's fine. We're not competing with you. So if you want us to do these 3 items and then run the funding through some specific model or relationships you have, that's fine. Some of you are really good at getting referrals from loan brokers because you get their declines, people that they can't get approved. So then we bring them back. We bring those clients through the 3 phases, and then we can take them back to the same loan broker for funding. You see, we're not competing with the lenders. We're not the lenders. We're the technical advisors. All right. So Mike has a question. He says, on the deposit, we have to say it's a refundable, non-interest bearing for the time we receive the deposit. Can you send the template? Yes. All of you actually have the template. The template was sent to you on your branch onboarding email. So if you're a branch partner, you have the template. I can walk you through it, of course, but you all actually should have the template. It's the credit and funding agreement, which has this extra language that you could copy and paste. All right, Guthrie asks, is there a position or structure for us to take our clients through the entire process? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but if you want, Guthrie, if you want to be a distribution partner, you can go to chapmanloanprogram.org and become one, and we'll help you take clients through the process, and you'll be able to monetize it. Mike says he's having problems setting a time to talk with me. Well, I apologize, Mike. Shouldn't be. We use Calendly, and so simply all you do is go on our Calendly link and schedule, and many of you do that, and I have 20 to 30 calls scheduled with you all on a daily basis. So Mike, just maybe send an email or call us, and I can help you walk through if you don't know how to use Calendly. It's just a link where you pick the day and the time, and then I call you then. So with this being said, let's wrap it up. This is a really good instrument to describe to prospects what we do, how we do it, and when we do it. In addition to that, we've talked a little bit about the Larry model, and Larry's not participating today. I wish he would, but Larry is extraordinarily talented. And so he has incorporated some strategies that I've shared with you. Make the payment for enrollment a refundable deposit. Build it into your economic structure so it doesn't reduce your profitability, and that decreases your tax liability because you can collect all the refundable deposits you want and it's not taxable income. But ultimately, we can talk about big picture items and themes and concepts. We're here to have one-on-one calls with each of you at least once a week. We plead with each of you. Schedule a weekly call so we're able to apply this knowledge, these strategies to your specific situation. So with that being said, let us know what we can do for you. Obviously, chapmanloanprogram.org has a lot of good information, including, if you don't have it, our phone number, our email address. Let's go enroll a client today. Let's go fulfill a mission, which is to build financial literacy and to assist in accessing capital. Let's make sure that your branch is profitable. Every one of your branches should definitely make at least $100,000 this month in April. That's only 8 clients enrolled. We'll help you. We'll show you how to do it. Leads are not a problem. Educating is not a problem. Enrolling clients should not be a problem. Just let us know what help you need, and we'll assist you. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you Monday morning. Bye-bye.